Happy Tuesday?
What?
What?
Like there's a holiday on a Monday called Memorial Day?
What in the world? Good morning and welcome to the Things We Like podcast. I'm with Andrew and Brooks. I'm Andrew, Drew, and that's Brooks over there. Brooks, how are we doing?
Stuffy. But
Insane.
good. It's just allergy season and I'm getting crushed. But you know what? It's okay.
Did you have a good Memorial Day yesterday?
Yeah, it was good. I literally left our social function early because I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to bed.
I need some sleep. I'm off. Nobody's here. I'm going to bed.
I came home to go to bed early and I still feel like I slept like 30 minutes. It's like, I don't know. I need a sleep study. I need to go figure out what's wrong with my body. Well, and then all my dreams are horrible too. So
you definitely do need a sleep study. I would love to see what a Brooks sleep study looks like.
It's just tragedy.
Or like a dream study.
Dude, yeah, like if you could project dreams and they'd be like, dude, what is wrong with this guy's brain? And then it just cuts to me laying in like the dream tube and I'm just like frowning. Yeah, it would be a dream tube, by the way.
What if you're just like dancing? You're
it's just Buck Bumble over and over again.
Yeah. Bump to the bump to the beat to the bump.
Bass to the bass to the buck to the buck. That's so cool. Yeah, we reacted to that off screen for the audio and the podcast viewer listeners. So it'll be up. We'll react to it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was, dude, it actually ended up being a really nice day yesterday. It started super rainy, which was like awesome. Yeah. My son slept until like 9:30. We let him sleep as long as he wants. So like I went to the gym. I got some book reading time while it was raining. It was awesome, dude.
Yeah, I got to get back to the gym hopefully this week, but we'll
And then by the time lunch was around, it was sunny again. Yeah. It was great.
The weather was amazing yesterday afternoon. We just had to wait for it to,
And we like did a little cookout with my mom.
Yeah.
And my aunt and my family. Dude, it was so nice, so relaxed.
That's nice.
Nothing big, nothing, stressful.
We went to Dylan's and we just hung out. We went on the boat.
Oh, that's awesome.
Made food, or they did at least, and then it was Brenda's birthday party too. So she's 3. Cool. So and then their cake was really good. And then as soon as I ate that one piece of cake, I'm like, guys, I'm going to bed. I came home.
Dude, let's go.
I left early. That's when I know it's like I'm getting older. It's like when I'm like, all right, guys, like.
Well, and then the other thing, you had MomoCon this weekend, so we could talk about that a little bit before we get into it. So no wonder you were freaking tired,
Well,
dude.
yeah, I feel like I'm always tired anyway because I don't really rest at all because I'm always doing something just because my life and schedule is always demanding. But I make decisions to do things. So I'm actually like the vlog that I'm going to make today. I'm going to do it after this video. It's going to be talking about that. It's the title. So I've been doing like titles and like think pieces. It's like, how do I manage being a creative? I don't.
Yeah.
And it's, dude,
I'm loving it. I'm loving it always being in the car. That's so cool.
It's an aesthetic.
Gonna be honest. Love that.
It's been getting some traction and like people have been relating to it. Some people have been like, not super receptive to it, but somebody commented the other day on that video and said I looked 47. And I was like, let's go. I looked 47 since I went bald, bro.
That's working. That's what's working for yourself.
I know,
man.
As soon as you get haters, you're succeeding. So
yeah.
But anyway,
who is the person that you said you mentioned somebody that has made a similar video style?
Oh,
they
Melinda.
Commented on. Yeah. I'd never seen her videos before or their videos before.
She's awesome. They're very
awesome.
good. Like the first time I saw her video, she made a video called "Starting Over at 35," and like I thought
that's
that
the
was
one that I watched.
I thought that was a very sweet, very genuine, very real video, just talking about a real life thing. Because like I've started over so many times, and I'm only like I'm approaching 28, so I can only imagine somebody with a few more years on them. It's just like I really respect that. So, and I just like I gravitate towards very genuine creators and people who are like very, very themselves. So that was like I'd always wanted to make content like that, but it was the last push I needed to like kind of do it, because like I've been in this like mindset of like just make and don't worry about it, just make. So like it's been nice, it's been healthy. But today, speaking of making, we're making a podcast on, this is our second Nerd News.
News, baby. We got stuff to talk about. There's a lot going on in the world.
So do you want to go first, or do you want to, doesn't matter.
I will go with, do I want to go first?
Yeah, let's talk about the big thing, the most important thing that you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about this thing. This is more of like a, I have to do a little bit of explanation. I know Chaz is a big D&D person, and so I know Chaz in the chat will also relate to me. I know a lot of other people in our communities are Dungeons and Dragons TTRPG people. So I wanted to talk about this new TTRPG system. It came out, I want to say, a couple months ago. We haven't been doing the Nerd News thing, but until recently, so I haven't really had a place to talk about it. And I wanted to gather my thoughts on it before we
that's a good thing about this is like we usually aim to do this once a month. So I want to just say this now. There are going to be things that are technically old news, but like we're not trying to go in depth with certain things. At least I'm not. I'm just trying to like skim the surface of like, hey, in case you missed that, in case you missed this is what happened. And it's like you can look at it yourself. Like I don't want to, like, it's more of like this has happened, so like investigate. So that's what I like to, because I'm saying that for myself too, because like I feel like a lot of times people will just see something and like make up their minds before they actually like dive into it. And like I've been guilty of that before too. We all have. So like
Asmongold has been pretty guilty of that lately too.
He made a career on it, but that's fine.
He's got millions of views.
But
based on that.
I do love Zach though. You could you could love or hate Asmon. That dude is 100% himself.
Oh, 100%.
That's what I love about him most. When we were talking about genuine people, like I relate. Like you could hate his takes all you want. You can disagree with him all you want. But that dude is always going to be Asmongold. Period.
Awesome.
Which is
100%.
like my favorite thing about him. So you can say whatever you want. You could disagree, and he will disagree with you. But
and he might be like,
why
making some semi-racist things, but yeah, he's being himself, man. He's making his point. Well, so what I want to talk about today, real quick, is there's a new TTRPG system that's come out a couple months ago by the company Critical Role, and their printing and manufacturing like publishing company Darrington Press, called Daggerheart. And Daggerheart is really, really interesting. To set this up and why I think this is interesting, new TTRPG RPG systems come out all the time. Why is this one any different than the others? I'm going to have to do a little bit of backtracking and kind of give some history here. So if you don't know Critical Role is a group of voice actors, 6 or 7 voice actors that started streaming themselves playing Dungeons and Dragons. Originally, they started in 2012. So like they've been doing this for a hot minute. And they were on Geek and Sundry originally. And then their whole first campaign was on Geek and Sundry. They streamed it live on Twitch while they were playing. So they were super early to the whole streaming thing. So they were streaming live on Twitch. They were posting everything to Geek and Sundry, and they have been, playing this. That was a 3 or 4 year long campaign. Campaign 1 was. And then they did a little bit of campaign 2 on Geek and Sundry. Then they transitioned for reasons that I am not purview to, but they made a transition to their own platform everywhere. And they started their own Critical Role kind of mass brand, which has been really, really cool. Yes, Chaz, it has been a decade, which is crazy that Critical Role has been doing this for over 10 years at this point. That's
awesome though. They got a lot of capital. They got a lot of like a back catalog of stuff for people to enjoy, which is really fun.
This is gonna be real. They were super early to the TTRPG like streaming. Now you'll see a lot of people do it. There's a million people on Twitch and YouTube and all these doing actual plays. An actual play being, and this is what they do, which is where you watch them play the game live. So everything you see is real-time decisions. There's no editing. It's just them doing their thing live, which is really, really cool. Also very cool that they're voice actors. So all of them voice act in major video games and anime. Like Laura Bailey is Lust from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, Matthew Mercer was Ganondorf in the most recent Legend of Zelda game, like Tears of the Kingdom.
I think I've heard Matthew Mercer before.
Matthew Mercer is also like, he's everybody. He's Trafalgar Law from One Piece. He's the captain from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
That's awesome. Yeah.
These guys are like crazy big when it comes to voice acting.
They're their own celebrities already, and then they start Critical Role. So.
But voice actors weren't, and you got to think about this in 2012. This is like pre-anime being at the height of what it was.
Yeah.
This is all pre-nerd culture being at the height of what it was. So they were doing a ton of stuff in the broader world and nobody really knew about it. So they kind of did this thing. And then like, as anime came to the forefront, people started looking up English dub voice actors and be like, this person who voices this person is really good. Who is that? They find these people. And then it kind of leads them to Critical Role. So Critical Role starts growing en masse with the rise of nerd culture kind of coming to the forefront. With the rise of anime coming to the forefront, the rise of, Stranger Things starting the popularization of Dungeons and Dragons again. Like that kind of coming more into the forefront. So these two worlds colliding at the same time made this massive like explosion for their group. Yes, Chaz, I forgot about Travis. Travis is basically every iteration of Thor. Like every animated version of Thor.
That's very cool.
Which is massive. So that's kind of their, backstory, kind of where they are. They've grown. From a monetary perspective, just to kind of get some scale here, right? Because it's kind of hard, they're a big deal, but like how much do they actually make?
Yeah.
All right. So for scale, you remember that 2021 Twitch data leak where everybody's numbers got leaked?
Yes, I do.
So according to that, between the years 2019 and 2021, all right, that is two years, calendar years, they made $9,626,712 from only Twitch.
Holy shit.
From just Twitch.
That I'm happy for them, honestly.
That's not merch. That's not any kind of like, plus that is baseline Twitch subs. That's not YouTube subscribers. That's not YouTube revenue. That's not anything.
Yeah.
To do with that.
Good Lord.
They're clearing like 14 million easy a year.
That is good for them.
Yeah. So, and live show tickets, their live shows always sell out immediately within the first 5 minutes, and
they just do like a campaign live? Is pretty much what?
Yeah, they do. They do like an episode of what they would do live. Yeah, and then that's also not. They have a podcast version of their live game, so they basically rip the live game and then make a podcast version of it.
Yeah.
They also have ads on their podcast. So, and that's only that one they also have like 4 other shows that run under their Critical Role like umbrella.
Wow.
So they're doing
and then if the creators
numbers.
wanted to do like have like individual channels too, you got to think about that too. So like
they don't because the amount of time that it takes to do Critical Role, and then they
dude,
also
I couldn't
have their like
imagine.
regular voice acting jobs still.
Oh, yeah,
like, they
that's-
all still work.
Dude,
I mean,
yeah, they're
One Piece
geniuses.
is
It
still
sounds
going
like.
on. One Piece is still going on. Trafalgar Law is very much at the forefront of One Piece right now.
They should cast me as Brooke, and I just start going, yo.
Yeah. But
that's been my new thing. Like if I'm laughing hard, I'm a hitter. So like when I laugh really hard, I'm like, I do that. So I've been like punching my hand every single time. It's like become my thing. So like I'm happy I have a thing now that people can point at and laugh at when they see it. Cause I'm like, finally.
So to kind of wrap that section up, there's like one more section, and then we get to the why it's interesting. So to wrap, they're making a ton of money. They're doing great. They have a diehard fan base. They're on campaign 3.
Yeah.
They should be wrapping up campaign 3 in the next like year or so. Their numbers have declined slightly, but that's just kind of like Twitch numbers overall have kind of declined lately.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just normal. So that's them. Now let's jump over to Dungeons and Dragons. If you know what Dungeons and Dragons is, it's a TTRPG with dice rolling, and you create a character, you embody that character. It's a combination of theater, acting out, plot lines with your friends, and a dungeon master giving you kind of queries to answer, respond to, and the way you decide if you succeed or fail is with dice rolls, and then you act out the dice rolls accordingly. So the big deal with that is, I believe it was last year or 2 years ago, Hasbro, it wasn't 2 years ago that this happened, but Hasbro now owns Dungeons and Dragons. That's a thing.
Whoa.
Like they own Wizards of the Coast, which owns Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering.
Oh my God.
So
what a steal.
Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast. Hasbro started trying to make some changes, and with the new iterative version of the Dungeons and Dragons manual, 1 D&D, coming out, I believe next year. I want to say maybe later this year. So that happening, they were trying to make some changes. There was a lot of stuff that the community was like not happy with, and then was like they were trying to do some paywall things that a lot of people weren't happy with. They were trying to do things like there was a lot of stuff around AI and generative AI that a lot of people weren't very stoked about. But the big one was not giving users free license to play their games online or talk about their games online.
Oh,
so
no.
Kind of like how bad Nintendo was, or is, really.
That's nuts.
So if they were trying to create some sort of like system where you had to like pay to be a part of this like whitelisted thing, and then you get approved, but you know how that goes. YouTube striking like isn't very great when it comes to that stuff. So stuff would still get stricken. So people were up in arms. So much to the point that like D&D games stopped playing.
Oh no.
There were people threatening to just like fully drop the system. People started dropping the system and like moved over to another system called Pathfinder. Needless to say, Wizards went back and like changed a bunch of stuff, recanted a bunch of stuff, claimed stuff was explained poorly, and then went back and basically like fixed a bunch of the problems. So there was a big issue. People got really scared because people were like, well, what happens if we can't play the games online? Now we, have an issue. All right. So that got saved, whatever. 1 D&D is still coming out. People can still play D&D online. It was a massive deal in the TTRPG community. if you want some more information, you can look it up. There's some really good articles written about it, kind of around that time period. But yeah, I would just look up D&D boycott or Wizards of the Coast boycott or something like that. It'll come up, and it kind of explain like everything that was going on around that time. The major reason I bring up those two things is now Critical Role has created this new system called Daggerheart. And the way I see it personally is it was inevitable for Critical Role to create their own system.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It's just very, very convenient that they kind of sped run it, and it comes a year or so after this major boycott and debacle with Wizards of the Coast and their fandom.
It sounds like they were already like developing it.
Oh, they were definitely developing it.
But they were like,
this isn't the first system that they've developed. They developed another system that was a TTRPG system for 2 people.
Yeah.
Which was really, really cool and like super unique. But that came out like not even a year ago, I don't think. Maybe late last year.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is coming out. It's in beta right now. You can go check it out. There's a lot of really, really good stuff. And yeah, it's very, very interesting that this is happening. It's a very D&D-esque type game, set up slightly differently. Notable differences are it is half dice, half cards, which is really cool. So instead of having like a big character sheet, you kind of use your cards to keep track of all of your abilities, which is kind of nice. Very similar to Magic the Gathering in that way. It's very cool.
It's almost like a hybrid of both. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's kind of a hybrid of Magic the Gathering and D&D actual play, which is pretty cool. There's also, they used more of a skill tree aspect to leveling up rather than a linear level up system, which is a more reminiscent of something like an Elder Scrolls game or
kind of like when I hear
FromSoft game.
Yeah, when I hear skill tree, I think of like Final Fantasy X. You know, like it's got like, because you've got like the what is it? It's like the sphere system, the sphere grid or whatever, and it's like you can branch out. But it can go into other people's sphere systems as well. Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I find, and there's a video linked below of D&D shorts. Love that guy. He does a really great job of explaining everything in a lot more depth than I have time to. Why the system is so different than D&D and like where it kind of lacks and some of the ways that it's going to be interesting. Now, the major thing is does this mean Critical Role is going to eventually start pulling away from Dungeons & Dragons, which I would argue Critical Role, not even argue, it's a fact. Critical Role is one of the, you're just burping straight into the mic, bro.
But I'm muted.
I can hear you.
You can, but they can't.
It's just directly into my ears.
I know. I'm going to spare them, but not you.
Right. Anyway, Critical Role is one of the main reasons a lot of people got into Dungeons and Dragons. It's a big seller for Dungeons and Dragons, as far as like ways people watch it to get into it, ways people learn how to play the game. It would be a massive shift if they went away from that. I don't know necessarily monetarily how that would affect Wizards or anything like that. But for the scene, the TTRPG scene as a whole, I think it would be a massive loss. But I also don't know if they would ever step away because they've built their 12-year brand off of playing this game. Is it going to be something that they get rid of altogether and then implement their own system, and that's the new main campaign? Or are they going to run 2 campaigns simultaneously, one with their system and one with a D&D system?
Yeah.
That seems like a lot, though.
Well, it sounds like these guys, at least at the very, very least, know what they're doing. So like they will be able,
yeah.
they're smart enough to be able to adapt and change. And it's like, my thing is for stuff like this, I understand change is inevitable. Like you can't really, things will change eventually. You know, we get used to things and we like the way they are. But on the flip side of that, I love the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And the only reason that somebody would try to fix it and try to change it is to hurt someone else.
Sure.
Because like if companies make big changes, if companies do that, they're like, how can we min-max our profits and screw everyone else to keep people up here? That's kind of sort of, I've seen it in like people's jobs. I've seen it in like corporate jobs, especially. I've seen it in like stuff like this. I've seen it in like, you know, in little places and big places. And it's really unfortunate that like, things change. It seems like things change for the, it's not like, hey, how can we make this better? It's how can we maximize our profits off of this and screw everybody else? So,
I'm going to address a couple chat things real quick. To Chaz, wasn't the original game done in Pathfinder? Yes. So the OG home game before they started streaming on Geek and Sundry and doing all of this stuff in 2012. Prior to that, they were playing the game at home. So when you came into the stream, they were already level like 8, I think, or 5 or something like that. They had been playing for years prior to that, just at home, non-stream, just like a fun game. And they were playing Pathfinder. When they made the switch to Geek and Sundry and decided to stream all this, they switched over to Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition at that time, because 5th edition had just come out in 2012. And Matt had to like homebrew a bunch of stuff to fix, like basically mesh the characters that they have been playing for 5 levels.
I'm gonna let in some sun real quick.
That's fine. They had to mesh some of the characters from Pathfinder that they had already been playing for 5 or so levels into the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game. Yes, that's why the Gunslinger exists at all. That's also why the Blood Hunter was made, because he had that idea, and so that got put on D&D Beyond as well. And then, Chloe says it's also the game they grew up with and love playing to create this whole thing in the first place. And so that's the other thing. Those two things right there are kind of my at odds with this whole scenario, which is like for one point, Chaz's point, they've already switched games one time. They went from Pathfinder to D&D in the first place. So the precedent's already set that if they switch from D&D to another game set, it being Daggerheart, their own system, like it would be not, the precedent's already there. It wouldn't be weird. But at the same time, Chloe's point is massive, which is the fact that like they grew up playing D&D or got super invested in this playing Dungeons and Dragons. It would kind of suck for them to have to like step away from that, and like the entire Critical Role fan base is based on that system and that fan base. That is kind of why I think I don't think it'll go away. I think they'll probably do a both and, which is they will have 2 campaigns happening at the same time. The Critical Role main campaign is a Dungeons and Dragons campaign will probably go to a less frequent release schedule, and then they will have another campaign that's a Daggerheart campaign move up and then basically like alternate or something. I think it'll probably end up being something more in the middle rather than like a hard stop and pivot idea. But yeah, that's the TTRPG world. That I just wanted to talk about that for a minute because it's something very interesting, and it's a massive deal for the TTRPG industry as a whole, because they are the biggest players making their own thing to directly compete with Dungeons and Dragons.
That's insane. Like they kind of, it's like, you know, if they're going to have to endure that change, then they have to adapt. And that's, you know, it is just the nature of that. But it seems like all these people are smart enough and capable enough to be able to make that pivot. So I am I'm not as well versed in it as you are, but just from the outside looking in, it feels like everything's going to be okay. You know,
I think it'll be fine. I think it's just more of like, what I don't want to happen, and this is like a little bit my fear, because I love Critical Role. I love what they did. They kind of helped me get into Dungeons and Dragons as well.
Yeah.
They weren't my first. That honor goes
spicy.
That honor goes to Not Another D&D podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out my NADPod fans. But I think that if they went to where it was a quarter of what it was now, I worry about their fan base, or like their notoriety, or they have a literal media company now. They own a building in Los Angeles. They own like all of this production stuff. There's a massive production house behind Critical Role now, where they do all of these things. They have a TV show on Amazon. Like they fund a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And I worry that like the pivot, if done in the wrong way, would be such a heavy hit to them that they wouldn't be able to recover from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's my only worry. I think they'll handle it fine. I think they are great business people. So it's like less of a worry than I'm probably making out to be more of than what it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just my worry for it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm excited for a new system.
That's cool. Yeah, I am happy. And again, I'm happy for you, but I'll have to, my little tiny brain will have to get used to that eventually. So that's definitely more of Andrew's wheelhouse, is the D&D world, because it sucks I never grew up with it. Like, it sucks that I never really had people around me to introduce that, and I still have never played, but Andrew and I are going to fix that this
I got
year.
into it around like 2012.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's like a whole decade plus of that, which is nice. I remember there's one D&D story I have, which is really crazy. I was this was like maybe a decade ago. I was just at a Walmart randomly in my hometown, and I was checking out, and this lady invited me to a D&D game. Like, there were people that were just doing D&D.
That's so random.
It was random, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. So I was like, I don't. This is like, I'm sure they meant well, but I'm like, I don't know you, so thank you, but no thanks. Like, I like this stuff. I am a nerd, and I would enjoy it, but I don't know you. So I'm like, no, thank you. God bless them. I hope they're doing okay. But so we're gonna pivot from that. Thank you, Andrew, for the content. Just right into my veins, please. So what I'm gonna talk about is not as important as what Andrew is talking about. I want to talk about Paper Mario and the fact that the 1,000-Year Door, I bought it. I have it right here. I need to stream it. I do need to stream. I'm going to play it soon. I don't know when. Probably. I was supposed to do it Sunday, but that was not happening. I had way too much.
Not gonna happen.
I'm way too behind on stuff. This week I should be getting caught up. So I have it, a hard copy. But this right here is a good sign. Like, it's a small thing, but it's a good sign, because I hope this game does stupidly well, and I think it will, because of traction on the internet and people just loving the series. Because things got weird when Super Paper Mario came out, because we were like, okay, this is not what we're used to. This is not. I like Super Paper Mario. I really do. I think it's got a really good story. It's not as replayable, but it is still a fun game.
Did you play the origami?
No, I haven't touched any of that. Well,
heard it was kind of meh.
Tristan and Hannah really enjoyed it, because there's a lot to enjoy in those games. Like, the art style is amazing. The music is amazing, but it's just like the gameplay. If you're into that, then that's awesome. But the gameplay is so far removed from what made Paper Mario. Because what made Paper Mario, and there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down as to why things turned out the way they did. But Sticker Star was like the big bad one. I actually played that when I had it. God bless my friend Matthew got it for me as a gift, and he didn't know any better. None of us did, and I played it, and
I mean, theoretically, Thousand Year Door was so good, so why would that one be bad?
Right, and he knew I was a Paper Mario guy, so like, I mean, I have Paper Mario tattooed on my calf. I'd get up and show you, but I don't want to get up. So it's floating around somewhere. I'll probably make it the thumbnail for my stream or my streams or whatever when I do that. But all that to say is like this right here, plus like Metroid Prime, right? The Metroid Prime remaster, excellent. Beautiful. Like chat and we like 100%ed it together. That was awesome. I'd never done that before. I gotten close, but I'd never done it before until I played it on stream, which I need to stream it again at the end of the year. These remakes and remasters are setting a really, really good precedent for what people actually want. So if we make these successful, then hopefully Nintendo will be like, maybe we could put out Twilight Princess on the Switch. Maybe we could, I don't know, put out Wind Waker on the Switch or the Switch 2, which is apparently confirmed. It is confirmed, but like, I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know when we'll see it, but it is like
we'll talk about that in a minute. But
but that will lead into this next one. So all that to say is it's kind of a small thing, but the fact that Paper Mario is getting love again, and like I've seen a few. I've been like keeping myself pretty fresh to this one because this one's a big deal to me. So far from what I've seen, the trailers, it looks beautiful. Like. That's like a timeless art style too. Like even the GameCube version holds up. Same for Wind Waker. Like Wind Waker and Paper Mario, like two of those old games that just hold up super well because it's like style over. Oh, we got to push these really hard, realistic graphics. It's like no, it's really really nice that they are able to. That we're able to have this now.
Yeah.
So it sets a really really good precedent for like future titles.
Think that this is going to end up being like the way to get into like same way I feel about Super Mario RPG, which you also got. I think those two games are going to be the way to experience new abnormal Mario games. It's going to be the doorway into. I think Super Mario RPG will lead you into like, you know, your more Square Enix type, maybe Pokemon or maybe like Final Fantasy-esque games. And I think Super Mario, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door is probably going to be like leading into more, because it's a weird game. It might lead into more of like indie directions or
it's like the Mario
Octopath kind of directions.
And I mean, like the thing is, Nintendo, they can print even more money if they wanted to. They have the teams and the resources to be like, all right, let's have one team work on these brand new titles, and then let's have another team work on these remakes that will sell because people like me who have nostalgia boners for these games will buy them. I will do that. Like,
you got to think about it this way: there are people that have never played this game. I know. And then Chloe's never played this game. And now they can experience this game at this well-produced of a format.
I will buy it for you. I don't even care. I'll sacrifice a kidney. I'll sell a kidney so that all my friends can have this game. You know what I mean? Like I will do that.
100%.
But it's such a great game. So let's lead into the Switch rumors and the Switch confirmation.
So let's talk about the Switch stuff.
Speaking of Switch and Nintendo, like let's hop into that.
So all right. There's been some rumors about the Switch going on, flying around. We can kind of see the end of the life cycle coming. I always tell people that the end of the console is generally shown by a new Zelda game. And we just got Tears of the Kingdom. So that means it's on its last, cycle basically. And we're getting all of these great remakes, and that's awesome. That's going to tide people over. We're getting a ton. They're pushing indie games really hard, which means
they're doing so well too. Like,
and that just means they don't have any main titles to put out. And the big one was Pokemon got pushed back by a year.
Thank God. Metroid Prime 4 is still being worked on, you know?
If maybe. If that.
I think they'll make it. I think they're trying to make it great. There's like, what is it? A delayed game will eventually be good. A rushed game will always be bad, or something like that. There's a quote, or like, you know.
Yeah. So they're on May 7th, Nintendo publicly said for the first time that they would announce the Switch 2 before the end of the fiscal year. And which fiscal year, for those that who may not, know what that means. That is like a businessy term. It's normally the end of a quarter. So either March 31st, June 30th, September 30th, or December 31st.
Yeah.
Those are all like the ends of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
But there's also a rumored, I think it's confirmed at this point. There's a Nintendo Direct scheduled for, I believe, June the 8th. Somewhere around there. Somewhere in the beginning of June, in the next week or so. There's supposed to be another Nintendo Direct, and I think the end of that Nintendo Direct is going to be them talking about
we got to watch that. We're going to do another bonus episode on that. So yeah, I would love that. I'd love to watch that when it comes out.
Yep. So with the combo of the end of the fiscal year remarks from Nintendo and the fact that I believe the head of Nintendo tweeted that there's going to be that they will talk about the next Switch and the next in the next Direct, which I believe is scheduled for somewhere in June. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a big deal. So what are we hoping?
Backwards compatibility is all I want.
Okay,
that's all I want.
Same cartridges?
I have like a 1 terabyte memory card for my Switch, because I have a ton of games on my Switch, and half of the games that I have aren't even put onto that, because I have a lot of hard copies that I haven't downloaded. Because I just bought 3 new Switch games recently. I bought Super Mario Wonder, I bought Mario RPG, and Paper Mario. And they're not massively huge games or anything, but like,
sure,
I want to be able to take my SD card out of my Switch, put it into my Switch 2, and just play those games, but also play new Switch games.
Yeah.
And I would even invest in a 2 terabyte hard drive if I had to. Yeah. I will pay the money to do that if I could take everything with me. All I'm asking is backwards compatibility. And if it isn't, I will be so angry. Because the Switch, like,
I think they will.
I do too.
For the reason of they are generally decent with backwards compatibility. The only ones that haven't been decent with backwards compatibility was GameCube to going from 64 to GameCube. Obviously, you had a totally different style of game, and like that's kind of where the good backwards compatibility started for them, right? Like in their handheld games, they've always done a really good job of including the previous generation.
So chat, some people know better than I do off the top of their head. Could you I think you could play GameCube games on the Wii U, right?
Not on the Wii U.
Not on the Wii U, just on the Wii?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could play GameCube on the Wii. You could play Wii on the Wii U. You could buy GameCube games on the Virtual Console. That was their first like foray into the digital storefront. So you could do that. And then but the Wii U sold so poorly.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
That they didn't care about backwards compatibility going into the Switch.
Yeah. So
they just made a hard cut.
Which is fine. I mean, the Switch is extremely successful for good reason. Yeah. It's a great console.
I think everyone will riot if they don't have backwards compatibility, even if it's. I don't know about cartridge backwards compatibility. Let me like that one. I'm not sure about.
Okay, yeah.
Digital license backwards compatibility, I think will definitely happen.
So like, how would I? So if you have cartridges, like, do you have to buy the games again, or
probably, or buy them on the digital store? That's what I think will happen. That's what I think will happen.
If that
I think
happens,
that'll
I'll
be
be
their
so
middle
upset.
ground. I know. I think that'll be their middle ground, though. Like, instead of no backwards compatibility, they're gonna try to push people to get the downloadable storefront option, because that makes them more money.
I'm wondering when the day is going to come to where physical cartridges are just obsolete and like nobody has them anymore. Because I think within the next like maybe 20 years or so, we won't see brick and mortar game stores anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there will always be some, just because people like retro stuff.
Yeah,
people like collecting.
I know what you mean, but like,
GameStops are gonna go away.
Yeah,
like non-local game stores will go away.
Well, I mean, if we've seen places like Blockbuster and stuff like that die and go away, then why would we not see that? Which is really kind of sad and scary. But
here's a couple things. So here's a couple things that I kind of hope for. I want 1440p upscale for TVs.
Yeah.
Whether they do that on dock, which I think would be the smart way to do it, because you don't need it on the tiny screen. Like, you can get 1080 on the tiny screen and it looks great because it's so small, it doesn't matter. Make the base model OLED and just make it 1080 on the tiny screen. I think it looks awesome. Then when you dock it, the dock gives it the ability to do the like 4K or 14.
That would be really cool, honestly. Chloe says, GameStop, my beloveds, I will mourn you. Honestly, yeah, dude, there's a place that Dylan and I used to go all the time. A lot of my best memories of games was like, we'd go to Movie Gallery. And that was like a Southern chain thing. I don't know if you had them, Andrew.
Yeah,
but Movie Gallery was the shit. And
the Southern Blockbuster, basically.
Yeah, and it was awesome because like you could rent games or you could buy them. I bought a lot of my N64 games from there, and like I rented games like some really obscure games. Like there was a game called like, I want to look it up.
Was it Glover? Was it Glover 64?
I wish. I want to get. What if I got Glover tattooed on my back?
Dude, Vex. You should get Glover tattooed on your hand.
PS2.
Can you get Glover tattooed on your hand, Books?
Oh, dude, I wouldn't do hand tattoos only because usually artists. Does anybody remember this game? Fucking Vex.
Yeah, dude.
2 X's. Like, this is crazy. This is like a hard throwback. Like, I remember seeing these games.
Cover. Yeah.
Yeah, because I loved these type of games growing up where it was like the 3D platformers and they had like not really an open world, but they had enough of a world.
Yeah. Very Psychonauts-esque.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think of like there was another game. It was like a Disney game. Hold on, this is gonna sound stupid. Platformer. It was this, I think.
What is that?
I don't know, but I played it.
What? But PK Cut of the Shadows?
Out of the Shadows.
Of the Shadow.
I don't know what the fuck this is, to be completely honest. But I played it. I played this shit because of Movie Gallery.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's look up some.
That's wild.
I don't know why it's called that, but like I loved this shit growing up.
What in the world is this game?
No, these ain't.
Are you like a spy?
Kinda. Like it's just a shooter, like a platformer.
You know what this reminds me of? Whenever you would go to McDonald's and get those games in your bag, like those computer games in your bag, and it was like Goofy movie, like skateboarding or something.
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna look this up. Yo.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna do a goddamn kickflip, Maxie.
Dude.
Oh my god. I played this.
Dude, I played the heck out of this.
I need to bring this back. I need to stream this if I can figure it out. But it's like a PC.
Yeah, it's a PC game.
Oh, if I can find a way to play this. It's like...
Oh, I'm sure it exists.
Oh, there's my man.
This is bringing back such nostalgia.
I know, and you get the coins. This is what I want currency to evolve into. It's
Star
just,
coins?
Yeah, just goofy coins up here.
I love how loud the trash can is.
Yeah. Just, you stupid bastard knocked over. That's a felony, Goofy. That's literally a fucking felony. Don't mess with people's mail. I love how the animation.
All right, books. What's going through Goofy's mind right now?
Just hell, death, and the grave. Anyway, yeah, that's that's the kind of stuff that like movie gallery, not the PC game obviously, but like that was in like a cereal box or something.
Sure.
But like movie gallery had a lot of obscure memories of like obscure games that like nobody had ever heard of. But I'm gonna miss those. So my biggest
back to the Switch stuff.
Yeah,
so I have one more. What's your big Switch thing that you would like to see?
Big Switch thing. I want Pokemon to thrive on the new Switch console. I want to see more remakes and remasters of like,
but like in the vibe of like how well Metroid Prime was done, rather than like the what is it? The Diamond and Pearl ones, not quite like that. More
so
like
do you
how
mean
well
like,
they were done.
Do you mean like what do I hope for is in terms of like what the system can do or what like?
Yeah, because it's like games wise, you would hope that if they remake a Pokemon game again, it's gonna be on the quality level of like what they've been doing.
Yeah,
like of the good stuff that they've been doing.
I guess I care more about like the actual games rather than like even performance or quality. I don't really care about like it'll be nice to have games like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom running at like a proper frame
60.
rate.
Yeah,
you know, like it'd be nice to have them running at a decent frame rate. But I just want the games to be good. Like I just want I just want the games to be good. Like, and I just want full backwards compatibility. That's really because I'm really scared that if I like, because I invested a lot of money into my Switch because I love my Switch. I took it on tour. I've traveled with it. Like I love it, and it still runs really well. I just hope and pray that I can play I could just transfer everything to the Switch 2 and have that plus like, and again, like I said, I would buy the 2 terabyte the SD card for it. I would do that because that's worth it to me. So
here's kind of my like, I'll just give my final thoughts and then you can go on to your last conversational point that you wanted to talk about. So I want to see, Chloe mentioned it in the chat, they need to fix their online, like their communication stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, it just crashes constantly. It's rough.
That's true.
So fix that. It's just very not good. And in today's age, just fix it, Nintendo. Good Lord. It doesn't take a lot of effort. Put some of that time and effort into that. It's worth it for your user base, especially if you're trying to push online
that's so
gaming.
true, because I don't really play online games, honestly. I just play a lot of single player.
But it would open everybody up to a new world of playing online games.
That's true. That's very true.
There's that aspect of it. I want to see I don't necessarily care about the specs as far as like I want to see it running at a proper frame rate or anything like that. I honestly don't care about
I don't either,
that kind of stuff. But what I do want to see, and this is a thing, I want to see more onboard storage for the base Switch.
That's true.
Now here's why. The reason that the current Switch is capped the way that it is because Nintendo, properly so, never wants a game to be more storage than what just a base Switch can handle.
Mm-hmm.
So like a game has to fit inside the base amount of memory that a Switch can handle.
Yeah.
That immediately makes it a lot harder to program for. because like everything has to get down res, everything
so
has to
true.
get
I didn't
crushed,
think about
everything
that, but
has to get
that's a good point.
down scaled to fit inside that graphical component to make sure that, you know, the gigabytes or whatever of storage that are, and I think it's 250 maybe, I don't remember, maybe 500, but not a lot. I want to see like a 3 terabyte switch or a 4 terabyte switch where you have a ton of space, which allows people, and then proper scaling, which means you have good ports of other games.
Dude, a
coming
4
to your
terabyte
system.
base switch would be so badass.
I know, but imagine a 4K 60 4 terabyte base switch, right?
Yeah.
That could run proper like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my god.
Kingdom Hearts base can't even run on the Switch right now.
A Kingdom Hearts port to the Switch would be, or the Switch 2.
Yeah,
oh,
it already
I'd be
exists.
all over that.
It already exists on the current Switch, but it's only cloud-based because of the storage problem.
Yeah.
That's how they get around the cloud-based games on the Switch are because of the storage issue on the Switch. The games themselves are too big to fit on the Switch by themselves. So they make them cloud versions.
Yeah, and Chloe also said fix the Joy-Con drift, which there have been lawsuits over that.
Yeah.
That were dismissed, which is sad because technically Nintendo got away with it. But I don't, my opinion on that is like, I don't think they were completely negligent. I think there was some negligence for sure.
I think they were selling so many of them that they were just churning them out and trying to get them out the door.
Yeah, and I don't think the technology was good, but it wasn't completely there. But I also think as a company, they felt maybe a little embarrassed at this, like, oh no, this is not. So they just didn't do anything about it.
But
they offered like free repairs.
I personally have never had any Joy-Con drift.
I've had Joy-Cons. I destroyed my Joy-Con. I threw them out the window one time because they were pissing me off so bad. I just like the Pro Controller. The Pro Controllers are overpriced. They are great,
but they're awesome.
They're awesome. I love my Pro. I saw one the other day. They have like custom Pro Controllers of like Donkey Kong and like Link and all these other ones, and I'm like,
so there's that. So there's that aspect of it. If you expand the amount of onboard storage with the like upscaling and all like the new specs and all of that stuff, it opens you up to new, better games. Now, think about the restraints of which people build the games for the current Switch and how good some of them still are. Now, imagine those restraints, like not non-existent, but significant. The ceiling on them being way higher.
I can
People
imagine.
are going to create amazing games for the Switch. I'm very excited for it.
I am stoked.
The other third thing kind of goes along with the online stuff is they need to be a little, I don't know, they need to have some sort of developer checkmark or process that the developers go through that gets the games to Switch faster, because to compete with something like Steam on the indie game front, I want to make the process of an indie developer being able to get their stuff onto a Switch a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because right now it's kind of a pain for them to get their stuff on Switch sometimes. Yeah. And so that process being easier will only be better for everybody involved, because they're going to sell more on the Switch store. Switch is notoriously a massive indie game seller. Yeah. So you get more indie games on that store that are really, really great.
Yeah. You can go to GameStop and buy those cards for like Hollow Knight for like $15.
I know.
Which is cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of the main things for me. Yeah. Now I've seen people talking about the magnetic Joy-Cons. Those seem super sick.
That's nice.
And would fix like some of the rail bending issues that I know some people have.
Yeah.
So like magnetic Joy-Cons would fix that, because there's like piece there. Which means they're also focusing on the Joy-Cons, which means that potentially the drift issue could go away. We would hope.
Sweet. Yeah. So for the sake of time, I only wanted to scratch the surface of this last topic of just the gaming industry, just like shitting the bed. We lived through the Helldivers incident. So we watched literally gamers bully PlayStation, because the whole, to my knowledge, what was going on was PlayStation, or like Sony, was requiring people to have PSN accounts and link their PSN accounts if you were a Helldivers player, like if you played on PC, so you
Sure.
could play cross-platform, but like that was not okay. There are way better videos on it.
The main thing about that, it's not the fact that they required it for me. So it's the fact that they didn't require it for a long time, and then all of a sudden they required it.
Yeah. So this video,
so there's a rule. I think it's MKBHD, the YouTuber, has, which is like you can't if you give something away and then try to charge for it, you can't do that.
Yeah, like that's like it needs to be that precedent needs to be set up front of like, hey, this is going to be charged for, because it's just scummy. So this video, again, love Actman. Like this is a fun video. It goes over the whole thing. And
send that one to me. Send that one to me so that we can add it to the description later.
Yeah, I'll put it in there
because I want to make sure that.
Yeah, I'll link it to you.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
And then there's another video. Also, so the Helldiver stuff was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
it was crazy to see that like the gamers, they won the battle, but they didn't necessarily win the war, because I saw another thing where
Chloe also had another point, because it changed, because they added their PSN account and stuff like that. It started blocking people in other countries from a game that they bought.
Yeah, that's true. I
forgot about that part.
Yeah, there are a lot of discrepancies that I forgot about. Also, I think the CEO, Helldivers 2 CEO steps down, I think, to focus on development. Yeah, there's
okay. Yeah, so he went back to the developer.
I'm gonna link this video too. This is
he went back to the developing the game.
Yeah. So this is a insightful video too. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into it because that's not the purpose of. Oh, August Burns, shout out August Burns Red. I like that. Guys got August. I didn't notice that until now.
Nice.
But yeah, when I talk about stuff like this on the podcast, I just like to skim the surface and like people can do their own deep dive into it. Also,
or we leave links in the description for people to like if they want a thing to go down.
There's another. So another thing is that Microsoft was letting go of all these companies. Like they act like. Oh
yeah, they were freaking axing people left and right.
Yeah.
Dude.
So there's a what is her name? There's a very good video about this. About let me see who I'm. Subscriptions.
They fired 1,900 employees from Activision Blizzard, I believe, right? That was early in January. And then
what is their name? Oh, this is a good channel too. He basically talks really fast, but like I'll link him, I'll send it to you. But if you ever just need a quick rundown of something, if it's like under 10 minutes or so, this is a great channel to get caught up on. This is what I watched. He made a video talking about it. But there's another creator that like made a video about it, and it was really, really good. Okay, I know Asmund talked about it, so give me a second. I do want to highlight this for sure because it was a very good video, I thought. Where is she? He's just got so much content. Jesus, this is how you do content, everybody. If you need to know, one way to do it, you just farm stuff, whether you're right or wrong. Where is this video? Yeah, I have to sift through a ton of different stuff, but it was a while back.
Okay, well, it's we could find it and link it in the description if people want to check it out. But
yeah, you talk. I will find it.
Yeah, so I know Microsoft went through and did a lot of stuff in the beginning of the year where like 2,000 people from Blizzard got let go.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna find it. It's bugging the shit out of me.
And then they also let go of.
I found it. You keep going. I found it.
Yeah. So they also started at least rumors of layoffs. I don't remember if they actually happened or not. But apparently they pulled the plug on Halo Infinite, which was never like officially announced.
Mm-hmm.
But then like that got pulled, and then they fired a bunch of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So this video is Charlana's art is the one that made this video. I believe they work in the gaming industry, and that this is a very good video. Well, the biggest thing that I noticed was that one. God, I can't think of the name of the game. It's one game, so it won a bunch of awards. It did well, and it succeeded. And then Microsoft like axed them, and then they came out publicly and they were like, "We want to hire game developers that like." Arlo made a video on it. I just want to know the name of the game. I'm sorry, my brain is terrible, but I love Arlo so much. What was the name of that game? It's his second channel. He has
Alan Wake.
No, not Arlo Plays. Arlo
Spider-Man. I'm trying to think of the games that were like nominated.
Arlo Cat. It was somebody in chat has got to know.
No, I don't think they do. God. Otherwise, I think they would be screaming it at you.
This is bugging the crap out of me. What is? Oh my Lord! What is your Topic Arlo? That's what it is. This is what it does. Topic Arlo is good. This video is really funny too. This is it. It was this is the video I wanted to show. We'll link them all in the video. But this is funny because he like plays the interview with, and they're asking about this game.
Chair. I found it on the side of the road.
What is this? What is the name of this game?
Produced highly acclaimed game.
Oh,
studios.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush. Thank you, Andrew. Oh my God, it was in my brain. So this game won awards. It was successful on paper.
It won art development awards and stuff like that.
Microsoft essentially axed this developer, and then they came out and they're like, "Yeah, we want games that are small, win awards, and are successful."
Yeah.
So yeah, just yeah, sorry. It took me a little bit, but I was just bugging the shit out of me for like.
Yeah.
Anyway,
then chat's responding right after.
Thank you, chat. Y'all are good. Thank you, Chaz. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. And then there's another video. It's like EA is like using AI or something like that. Again.
Yeah. I don't know enough about that.
Yeah. So the guy's channel that I linked earlier, he talks about that. So there's like
the EA CEO Sleazeball McGee wants EA to
Sleazeball McGee. I love this. This is just a minute-long video talking about EA Studios' hunger to start using generative AI as quickly as possible. So it's just like AI is like. Guys, like, come on.
I love that like all of these big tech companies are like, we need to implement AI as quickly as possible. It's like, guys, I totally understand your like want to integrate this cool technology. It's got to get better before you can start integrating it. And you got to wait until there's laws.
Oh, dude, like, yeah. And you've seen those memes where it's like, the Google AI where it's like, yeah, Google told me to make a pizza out of glue, so I did it.
Yeah. Well, it's not, and there's things like OpenAI getting sued by Scarlett Johansson for using her voice and like, or a likeness of her voice in their new AI model and stuff like that. There's some crazy stuff happening. There just needs to be more. Before people full send this stuff, there needs to be like structure around it a little bit.
Yeah, they're just trying to use it as quick as possible to benefit them as quick as possible, and it's just like.
And I understand they're trying to like, they're a company. They got to make money. They got to like,
because AI stuff is cool. It just needs, like you said, probably a little bit more regulation, probably a little bit more testing and development, probably because like the captioning thing you sent me for shorts has saved my life, dude. Like that cuts down on. It's amazing. It cuts down on time. Like that is a tool that I would love to pay for, and I do.
Yes.
But like when people are trying, I think it's like.
trying to replace humans with this.
My stance is like, because it's like you can never truly replace humanity, right, in art, because like you can, I mean, you technically can. It's like, you know, if you're a music producer,
it's like I can run out in the middle of the street and get hit by a car if I want to, but should I?
No,
probably not.
Well, and like you know, as a music producer, like you can add bass, like synth bass, to anything you want.
Sure,
but it's removing that human element of tracking a bass player. It's just like there is something missing. There's a human component that's missing to that, and I feel like eventually it doesn't matter if, like, because to consumers don't care. Right. Yeah. Consumers really don't care about what we care about. Sure. They just care about, is the product good or not? And if it's good enough for the general public and it's AI generated, I think we're fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
it's a sad thing.
But I agree with Chloe's sentiment, which is there are good uses. A lot of them are bad. I think so. Like a good use, for instance, I use AI generative stuff to take YouTube videos and then turn them into blog posts and newsletters and Twitter threads and stuff for my business. It's like that kind of stuff is awesome. I love that. Saves me so much time because it gives me a framework, and then I can go in and but I also always go in and like tweak all of the copy to make it feel more real rather than just like a generative thing.
So my thing is like I'm not against AI, but it's like integration over replacement is what I'm for. It's just like if we can,
and there needs to be laws and rules surrounding it.
Yeah, integration, regulation, and without replacement that's what I would like. So any final thoughts, Andrew? It's been a good, meaty, healthy episode today.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. We won't even get to do the other thing that we wanted to do, which is have you play Animal Well today.
Oh, I know. It stinks, but we will be doing that eventually.
We will do that.
I'll stream it soon.
And Brooks will stream it. I swear he will.
Yeah, I know. I swear I will. We'll do it. So any final thoughts? I don't really have any. So we covered everything that I wanted to talk about.
I don't think so. Keep your eye out on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed to all the channels so that because we will go live and react to the Switch announcement stuff and all of the Nintendo Direct and all that kind of stuff. So when that all happens, like make sure you're aware of all that kind of stuff for us, because I think it's going to be super fun. We're very excited about all that. And check out all the links in the description because I made sure to be proactive and send Brooks a bunch of links based on
I'll
the things that we were talking about.
So
we were trying to be more proactive. I think the last Nerd News we didn't do it. We were flying off the seat.
We're still learning, so we're getting better at it. So Nerd News will be like once a month, kind of catch up sort of a deal.
Exactly.
So like,
without that stuff. Thank you so much for listening to the Things We Like podcast. If you enjoy watching this, check us out on YouTube at Things We Like Pod. We stream for now every supposed to be Monday on Brooks's channel at Bad Luck Brooks. And if you don't like seeing our faces, I get it. So for you, dear listener or watcher, if you want to just listen, we are on every podcasting platform as an audio only version. But you do miss out on some of the little fun stuff when we do go live. So things like reacts and things like giving us more chat engagement and things like that. So make sure to catch us live. Without further ado, Brooks, send us out.
Thanks to AI, we can now enjoy glue pizza.